Oh, no, you're not yet.
This meeting is being recorded.
Shit, I forgot all about it.
So this is so it's Thursday, the 14th of July, and it's 9:28, and this is the Confederation United
geez,
Flag
what?
Jurisdiction
You
10.
should have reminded me again.
I reminded you
Oh,
a couple of times.
yeah.
There is a
Okay.
So in the video, because this will be the video going out, but there is a little bit we've been talking to previously on Facebook, because it's actually streamed. This is being streamed live on Facebook as well, and that link will be in the video when I put this video out. So, okay, John, it's on to you.
So this, I'll just start from the beginning just quickly. So the first, number one, was in our meeting, our court hearing tonight is open for business now, and corporate contract, commercial contract business. So the first one, we want to dissolve Parliament, the government, because they're a threat to us, the sovereign people of the land, and dissolve Parliament and government before they make a mess of us. We'll make the opposite on them with this writ warrant and a motu proprio. So that's the first thing we've got to do is to head off the threat to us. And the second one is the motu proprio citation, split out the motu proprio's orders to dissolve all corporations and split it out into citations and counts, like the magistrate courts have counts, count 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on to 90, count 90, to enforce tonight those counts. We'll come across those in the book as we roll past the book and afterwards. I'll just go through briefly overlay of the whole thing. And number 3 is a writ warrant to enforce the writ warrant, that book, the whole 190 pages tonight. And for the sheriffs, the constitutional sheriffs, the 1835 flag constitutional sheriffs, to be quite exact, of their term of legal representation of our business. Number 4 is a contract deal that have to sign this book, the same as what the UN Marshals did in 2015 when they went into Cook Street. So they have to read that book properly, or especially the motu proprio, and enforce it. So we give them power from this court to enforce it into law, and to use those writs, those Pope's orders. He's the highest in the world of corporations and the highest of the trust. Apart from the Queen Victoria Trust, is another trust of land leases and prized possessions and property confiscated, and all that, right back to 1689, King William III. All that property that's been seized by the British Crown from our country and every other country they've invaded is in that trust under the Queen Victoria Trust, not the Pope. The Pope didn't do that. So the Pope's only got the gold and the trust, the sovereign bonds, your birth certificate worth 100 million now. It used to be $1 million when it first started per person or per live body, human. And so now it's shot up to 100 million as far as David Strait, Lester Strait is concerned. That's the value in the Pope's.
Figures are well.
Yeah, so I've gone right up to £1 trillion, and that's the figure we're going on. We're going on the birth certificates in this court hearing and swear it in front of everybody, in front of the world. And that's what we did. The Queen Elizabeth Crown, business corporations, and the Pope against that. So they've had the use of all that admiralty to get all that gold off the other people's lands, the native lands, and store it away for themselves and their business. But we are claimants for the first time. Hasn't been done like this. Nobody's owned up to it. So they were going to dish it out through the United Nations after they deal with New Zealand first, and get them to be the first country in New World Order to dish out all that wealth from the Queen Victoria Trust and the Sergei Trust, Sestigiv Trust of the Pope. That they were going to give as humanity. So we're going off. That'll be less than what we would get if we go under our own sovereignty contract with the flag straight to Britain as the shareholders and beneficiaries of that trust, still beneficiaries and infants. When we come out of our infancy now in this Confederation, we're not infants anymore, and the Whakamininga is still infants until they get corporatized. They're not wanting to go corporate with Britain. They want to stay out. They said they didn't cede their sovereignty to Britain, so they're out of the contract or any of the legal inheritance to what we are claiming in the Confederation in this business of the Moai Crown and the King William IV Trust. So it's going from the Queen Victoria Trust into the Moai Crown King William IV Trust and the Sestigu Trust of the Pope. All that gold goes into the Moai Crown and King William IV Trust. So there, then that business of my powerhouse group in London and Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea in New Zealand, those are the two creditors of that trust, the corporate businesses that belongs to all the shareholders that join in this side of the claim as claimants in shareholding when we'll get the website up and running again. But what used to be going good in 2013 and 2015 was going good until they slammed the bloody thing up and demolished it. The original website, that's why you see this website now, the moaipowerhouse.world. It's all over the place, and I've got to take a long time to fix it up. And the Wix website wanted me to tell them and their experts to fix it up, but I got no money to pay them, so I'll have to fix it up myself. And they wouldn't know what to do with it anyway, so they wouldn't know how we want to run the Scully or Tag Pay Scully money transfers to shareholders and all of that, with all the buttons and everything to work again. So then we go on to the contract deal, number 4. That's with the sheriffs, and Gregory Cook will be here a little later. He's got a meeting on tonight, so he's got to read that book, especially motu propria, and get familiar with the counts that we're going to use as our authority over the courts, the parliament, the politicians, the lawyers, the judges, everything. It's there. It's all there in 90 counts that are put as 90 counts as our authority from the Pope orders. 5 gold lien. We put a lien right up. We've already got the lien of 970 million trillion note over all that gold, the whole lot. That's missing because it's come out of the Admiralty, King William III Admiralty. That's how they got that authority to get all that gold. So there, we're putting these seals on these documents right over the top of it. Security on the pound note, as security on the pound note, and the Powerhouse Bank, my Powerhouse Bank UK, and my Royal Bank. Those 2 banks will be where all that money will recovered gold, whatever goes in there. So 6 is Cecile Hood. She's our administrator manager. She's had a case on tonight, but I won't put it on because I'm not happy. It's not set out properly, and I needed more detail before I put any court cases on here. And it's rather a different case of them claiming money from the Crown in Wellington rather than us doing it this way for the whole lot of people, and not just for somebody who wants to get a claim. So I have to discuss that with them. It's not right that we should put what's gone wrong with the Crown in Wellington in front of us if they don't agree to it, or the person that's got all his property missing, taken by the primaries industry, New Zealand government, and so he hasn't got, and all his computers and everything. So we'll leave that case until I get more information done properly. But I have to see what they got, figures of their claim, which is outside our guidelines into claiming money. We claim for everybody, not for individuals. in this court. So 7 is the writ of possession on the website. So that's all that book is there for everybody to read. And sometimes it's hard to open. You have to keep trying because the files are big, and it'll drain out the computer's memory to open it up. Because some people, Gregory was saying, in the sheriffs, they can't open the page. That it does work, but then you just have to keep trying, and it'll open up. It'll open up. It's just the computer CPU is a bit slow to open it. 7 is the writ of possession on the website. Obviously, 8 only allow one government in a country. So we've got the Maori government wants to be a government, and so that they won't allow 2 governments to run a country. It's only allowed 1. So we've got the Moai, King William IV, and the UK federal government partnership. That's another government. So there's 3 governments going over this country at the moment. So we've got the flag as a partnership with Britain, not UN. The flag is not a partnership with the UN. It's not legal there at all yet. It's not. It'll be legal in Britain because that's a British flag, and not a UN flag. It's come from a king in Britain, not the UN. That's the difference between it. And I want to make that quite clear with the people flying the flag, is that you have to look into what a king would give the flag for. Was for ships, to protect the ships and their corporate business on the sea, and then it goes from there to the land. And for the chiefs at the time, they were trading and their ships were being confiscated. So now they got the protection on the land anywhere in the world of their corporate business. That's what it's for. Corporate trading, bank business, nothing else. It's not for anything else. That's how we're treating it, and we'll get somewhere. We won't be poor anymore if we do that. Not waving it around for something else, or even for a Maori government, because it's none of their business. It's none of anybody's business. It's a British business. For goodness sake, they should know that, and shouldn't be flying it for anything else. So 9 is a title to New Zealand, prove to the trust fund. So they have to prove, whoever is claiming for that gold in the Pope's gold, or the trust, Queen Victoria Trust, have to prove they have title to the land. They have to have all the memorials to the land. Their name, their surname has to be unique. It can't be budgeted up or borrowed from somebody else or anything. It has to be, the name has to come from somewhere, and it has to be a meaning for the documents that they're holding to the land or to any claims to that trust and everything. You have to have more than what I'm putting on Facebook and dishing out. You got to have more than that to prove that, and even the birth certificates and the Manukau title, something that'll be unique to a Manukau surname, to a document. That's powerful. That alone is powerful instrument that the British will listen to. This government over here won't listen to that because they've got their own way. They've got their own way of doing titles. So all those titles, if this Cook Street goes together and comes out, right, confiscate all the other titles in New Zealand, the whole lot. The British did that before in 1968 or something like that, confiscated the whole lot, 1868, sorry, somewhere about there. Confiscated all the French titles in this file, and all the radical titles that were going all over the place from Australia, and put them into the British title again and reissued them. Those are the titles I'm going on. So there, I'm sorry about not getting that across to. Never mind, I'll send the things, the video. He wanted to talk tonight.
I know it's she.
Oh, she wanted to talk.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no, she didn't want to talk, but she wanted to. I wanted her to.
Oh, I
follow
see.
our kaupapa.
Oh, I see. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry
no,
about
'cause
that.
she's interested.
Yeah, sorry about that. Never mind. I'll send the things to her afterwards. So we've got 10 the indigenous names, surnames, matters in a King's Bench Court, male line dominant, legal inheritance. So there, the name has to go with your documents. And like I'm being transparent with my surname, and the Manukau surname. So those are out of the road. The British won't worry about that. It'll be everybody else that's claiming anything, inheritance to the whole of New Zealand, not just the hapu. It's got to be the whole of the New Zealand and the people as one, not just a bunch of people here and there. And because the flag is commercial worldwide and not just limited to just a few hapu. It's the hapu controls whatever goes where the flag goes, and that's what they should have been following, the flag where it's gone to, and research that, and then they wouldn't be poor no more. So we've got Pope 11, Pope and Sestigu Trust, and sovereign bonds. So we'll talk about that a little later through the book when we start crawling it, to the whole of the world, not just limited. So we've got Cook Street hearing tonight. This is just a continuation of that, so we can wrap it up very quickly before long. And I'll quicken up on Gregory and his sheriffs by what to say with the motu proprio, especially that, and some of the other acts we are using on the corporates. So there, it's this corporate versus that corporate. That's the only way you can beat them. 14, go to the main writ. So there's that, that's the overview. So we can just go on to the book now. And we've got four documents that I'll try and get through it as quickly as I can so we can have a discussion afterwards. So we've still got, hang on, I've got to get into this one. I'm glad this computer worked after all that. So we'll go, not that one. We go on to the Navy officer, well, yeah, that one. Hang on. No, the Navy officer one. What's that one? Oh, no, not the Navy officer. You got the right one. Sorry. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one we go on to. So, where am I going? So we've got, that's just the Moai standing in London as their title, the Queen Victoria title, because she pinched it, she stole it against God's laws. And so that's our title. That's our overall title, where she's gone with the wealth and everything. And those two seals, the Moai seal and King William IV seal, he's the Great Seal of Britain. That's what you call him on that horse, on the sheriff's badge. It's the Great Seal of Britain, UK. So there, that's that. And see the first page, go back a bit. Well, so we've got, no, back, up. I just want to read just a little bit at the bottom. The little bit at the bottom is the Moai title, Energy World Co-op. So that's what we want to be, 250 countries, World Co-op, pound, gold, water, money, patent, shares. So there we shared a whole lot amongst all the people who are as a co-op business. And so that's where all the money and the gold and everything goes into that co-op business for everybody to run their own co-op businesses and get all the benefits out of this trust. So there we go on to the second page. And hang on, what did I say on this? So the seals of Westminster Parliament is there. Those are the main four ones. That's Parliament, that black one. And that's the Moai seal of the world, the water board. You'll see the water board. That's for the whole oceans title and the land titles. So the water and water and in there, the water board. So we have a Moai water board to take care of all the ocean's water under that crown. And so we've got the gold that's missing, the dragon against the red dragons of all the other families, royal families. This is what that is, up against their dragons, and God's. This is God's, the real God's earth gold symbol that we use as corporate. So these are all four corporates, and then there's King William on his horse on dry land. That's his great seal of his Great Seal of Britain, UK. That's what you call that title. That's the four seals that we go as authority on these documents. and you see all those seals along the top. We already know that. I've got explanations on that on the website. So there. So you've got that one, that crown and anchor. That's King William IV mortgage instrument of going on the sea, title to go on other lands and put his flag up with that of magistrate or surrogate king's authority of that crown and anchor on the boat, on the ship, the British Navy ship. That's his own. That's King William's crown and anchor title to his crown entity and legal inheritance that we're going after. So those are all the seals on our document. There's 12 seals altogether, and that's enough than one seal on a document. There's all those. That's why these pictures on these documents means more than the document itself as memorials to the land and the sea. So there, that's the Moai and the tidal energy bridges on the flag of the world in the Pacific Ocean for those tidal turbines to go all over the world. That's your business in investing. Each of those tidal turbine bridges is £20 billion each to put one of those up, just one, in any country where the planes land, the hydrogen-powered planes, they won't get off the ground without this. They can't use fossil fuels or any other, or nuclear or anything that's sustainable, and free energy from the sea is the best and clean. So that explains that. We'll just move on. And that's in the letters and the application to the Rolls Building, High Court of Admiralty, to this Judge David Lindsay Mackey. We're doing the same again, but we're not going to send it to him because they're liable now. The courts are liable from the Pope in 2013. So they had 3 years to clean their act up, and then they're on their own. If they didn't clean their act, then you could go them. You can go them now because it was 2016 when the Pope's orders were enforced after that. So there, that's enforced now. That's what we're using on Cook Street. And that's what I was using on Cook Street. Should have worked. We should have had that land back then. So this is an easy job for me to do it, to finish it off. So there's your sheriff's flag. And then we can skip through this. There's the Securities Exchange Commission over there, and all those. It's a lot of reading to do. So it just explains where the money's going to go into the tidal turbines and into people in their countries, all of 250 countries that join us. And so that's we can carry on going. We can skip through to page 3, and then we're going to zip through the rest afterwards. Page 3, contract signing. On page 3, where's page 3? What's that page? Private investigator. So I'm still going back to Graham Elliott, private investigator, in Browns Bay, because I haven't paid him yet, and he did a lot of work. He's got all these instruments there, and he just said to get the titles sorted and information from the office, land office, and then he'll go for it. But he needed to get paid. So as soon as we get the pound note, we can write the pound note against the gold as equity. Once I get my next evidence together next week for the sheriffs, and we can start writing that pound note very soon. So that's for the investors on Cook Street. Lost 300 million at the time. They asked me if I can do anything about it because I was in real estate, selling real estate in that area. So I can go back and visit that with them again and claw back all that missing wealth. And that the whole thing was a fraud deal. And I've got any amount of proof there. And winning the case, or the Crown and the landowners losing the case with insufficient evidence is proof enough. They had to let me come out of jail, so they got another bill on their head for putting me in jail. So there, and so there's plenty of that going on. going into this account. £1 trillion each. There's 42 people got in my way on Cook Street all together. They're all named in these documents already in 2015. So carry on going. Carry on going. Those are just titles. We'll skip through that. The creditor, my federal nations with British Crown, Great Seal. We've been through that. Page 7. We'll skip to page 7. We'll just go to the main bits. Page 7. The Pope dissolves corporations. These are his words. Keep going down until you come to it. Yeah. So we're going on facts now. Where's it? 7. What's that on page? That's page 7. Oh, must be the next page. Home Guard. We're going slow. Oh, hell, where did I get to? Might be at the end of this page 7. Pope Francis dissolves corporations. Oh, shucks. Oh, no. I've lost it. Page 7 was the Pope dissolve corporations. Where is it? That's very important. I might be on page 6. No, it should have been there somewhere. Anyway, we'll carry on. I've gone and no, I should have seen it by now. I should have seen it. Yeah, carry on going. Go down, keep going to the end of the page until you get to page. What's down the bottom of that page? No, carry on. No, carry on. No, carry on. Carry on going. I've missed it, but never mind. We're just going. It's on the end anyway. Government contract. No. Levy credits up. No. They signed there. We'll carry on. That's for Gregory to sign. Sheriff Cook. Well, yeah. Keep going. Number 8 is probably carry on. Keep going. They sign again there. Carry on going. Oh, I missed that. But the Pope's down the end anyway. It was just a short bit on it. Keep going. These are just the land, the ones in the land information office with their names there as debtors. They're £1 trillion on each of their heads. So those are just some more things, those counts there, but we can skip over that. These are just, we can skip over this lot. And those are just, we've been through this. And so that's for reading. It's on the website for everybody to read. Now, what's this? New Zealand dissolve. Here we go. New Zealand dissolve, court's verdict, Queen of England, head of state public notice issued by members of parliament. I'll carry on going. Now, those are from the Canada. We're going against the Queen. We'll go past that. Keep going. That's King William IV. And that's Cook Street. There's the fraud document, that one there, where the title, they forged the title, the road and the title. That's the evidence of the fraud land transaction. And apart from that, they didn't allow Mohi and his, what's this, Wo? They didn't allow him and Mohi and his traditional history. They went for the ordinary history as their proof against a real traditional history. They just went for the conventional history. What's this oath of? Now we can skip past that public. Now we skipped through this Jeff Foley. I put him in there at the time. I thought he might want to go in as king because he's Admiralty. 300 AD is the Foley family that put the Admiralty together. And that's this one here, that's Cook Street as well. So we can skip past there. These are just legal instruments and the picture says everything. They can't get away from their there's Judge Mackey there, besides the Queen there, and Sean Elias, Chief Justice there at the time, that she was causing fraud with her Hugh Fletcher, her husband, at the same time of the Panama Papers. So there, just a written letter at the time. I had to rush things through to get it through at the time to beat the date. And these are all signed at Waitangi in front of the chiefs. All these documents have been signed, and I've got some more documents here. I just picked up out of another bag that have been signed, a shortened version of the big books that the chiefs signed as well. So all legal instruments, everything in there. And we'll come across that motu proprio bit. It'll be saying the same thing. Keep going. We go to, what's this, page 15, tags and seals. No, carry on going. Keep going. Just keep rolling. We're going to have to skip to page 101. Go past all of that. Those are legal instruments. Oh, hang on, Will. There was another one with Choi, Utai Choi. I wanted to read that one. Where was it? Motu proprio. Oh, I've lost it. I can go back to it afterwards. Utai Choi. Hey?
We'll go to 101, yeah.
Oh, it's on page 8. Page 8. I wanted to read Utai Choi what he said about all these documents being authenticated. Page 8, I think it's on. Utai. Oh.
Page 8.
No, it's not.
We went to 8. This is page 8.
Is that page 8?
Yeah.
Oh shucks, my page 8 is different to that one. Oh.
Page 8, no.
I'll come across it afterwards anyway. We'll just carry on going where we are at 101. Page 101. But there's a letter from Utai Choi.
This is.
And there it is. Yeah. Here it is. I wanted to read it. Certificate of authentication documents. So he's authenticated all these documents I took to him, the books, and Utai Choi of Auckland, New Zealand, Notary Public, duly authorized.
Admitted.
What's that?
Admitted.
Hey?
And sworn. Utai Chow of Auckland in New Zealand, Notary Public, duly authorized, admitted, and sworn, and practicing within New Zealand, do hereby certify. Number 1, on the 29th of August 2013, John Hawani Wanoa, a resident of Auckland, attended on me and sufficiently identified himself to me. He produced to me the following documents: A. Application for default lien debtor sale of ship and other property and business. 3. I verify that the above named document is an original document and that the signatures thereunto were subscribed in my presence. 4. I have affixed my seal to each document and to the copies thereof, and have initialed the same for the purpose of authenticating them. In testimony whereof I have hereunto subscribed my name and affixed my seal of office at Auckland aforesaid on the 29th day of August 2013, in faith and testimony. His signature, Notary Public, Auckland, New Zealand.
So what he's saying there is everything that's written as legal instruments is enforceable and authenticated. That's for seizing the property, which is what I went to him for, is to certify what we are doing, to take to the police and tell them to step aside with all these legal documents. So we're going to do that again, and I'll school up the sheriffs about that, so that they have all the authority in the world from the lawyers and from these legal documents. There's the application to the High Court. It's still lodged there, but all I had to do was to pay the fee and for what I'm claiming, and then they'll go ahead with it. But I don't want them to control what the figures are. We stay in control of courts and don't let any other inferior courts to make decisions of a higher authority court. So that's the title to Moai to the whole world. The sun shining in 3 places of a round globe with a ball in the middle. You see, the Earth is an electric DC motor generator battery in one. It is powering up all the stars in the universe from this generator. That's what I treat it as, a generator, and with its own power source. And I say the sun is like a resistance or an implement that's running off the Earth power as surplus power going out the north and discharging back through the south. So it can't be flat Earth, because how do you make a generator out of a 2 bob or half a crown with a flat surface? Where's the generator in that? That's what I say to these idiots that are talking about flat Earth.
Yeah.
When it's gravity that holds the water together in a sphere. It's a sphere like any other planet that's round and being molded that way by the great creator of the Earth, the real God, not just making up out of humans' heads, making something that trying to make everybody believe it, so that the narrative stays in what they say to people and dumb them down. So there we can carry on. We'll stop there. That's King William's Yard in Devonport, England, in Plymouth area. So that's his title there. That's his memorial there as William Yard. That's where I was going to go to claim that whole village, township, as his title, to stay there, park myself there on his land, and use the Admiralty from there. That's where the biggest navy in the world was there, right there. That's his crown and anchor there on the left. That belongs to that memorial there, and Westminster on the left. So that's our authority right there on these documents. And so anybody else trying to claim wealth and gold and anything else has to come up with these titles to their surnames and the land that they're sitting on, where do they get their authority from. So they have to say that in front of me, who they get their authority from to claim any wealth that was made from this man on this, beside the Moai and his memorial there. They have to come up with some other memorial to their claim. So we're making a claim here in this court tonight that that's our authority right there to that man there, and that put it all together, not a queen. The queen didn't do all this and had a navy yard where all those ships started from in England. So that's our high authority of Admiralty to all the claim on wealth. Even the Pope's wealth, those ships took off from there up to Rome. And so that's that part. There's his memorial there, and there's our memorial on the left with eyes in it. The Moai had eyes in it. They took the eyes out. You see, they desecrated the Moai, and they had pearly eyes in them so that they can see. And so they make them so they can't see, and took the crown off his head. So that's the insult to our whakapapa memorial to the land and to the world. So there we can read those another time, and can read at your leisure. Those are what I put together for that claim and title. So there's the original claim to the High Court without the pictures in it, and I filled out separate copies and no pictures on it. 2 of them, 2 sets. That set, a clean set, and the one with the pictures on. So there, that's that one. And yeah, keep going. Those are just for reading. Those are our legal instruments. So anybody making claims must have more instruments than this lot to the trust, to both trusts. Keep going. Keep moving along. Where's those papers? We go to page 103. Page 103. Oh, 100. What was 103 saying? Went to High Court of Admiral. Oh, no, we've gone past there. High Court. We're gone past there. We're going to page 118. The birth certificate. 118. I must have got a different thing on my one. No, 100. What's that page? Where's 118? Those are the gold coins that we use. 100. This one here. There. That's the birth certificate there. That's like a title. That's your certificate that you were here. You can say, I was here. Where did you come from? And so that's to the British Crown. These are British certificates. So there, if anybody's got any birth certificates like that, I've made an affidavit out of it to say to this Crown in New Zealand, they just ignored it. So we go higher to Britain, and Britain will wake them up about this. This is just another legal instrument of the Manukau. And there's Te Mati Manukau, Mohi Manukau, our paramount chief's ancestor. He's Mohi Te Mati Manukau the fourth. So generations back to there. So that's his. He signed the documents as well when they came down from Nelson with the real Kāwharu. I went down there and ranged the whole thing. I arranged the One Tree Hill for those real Kāwharus to come up to One Tree Hill and claim it so that Mohi can have Auckland back. But then the government just ignored it all, a traditional original title holder and these birth certificates, and went with Kāwharu, Professor Kāwharu, Sir Hugh Kāwharu, and took his title of New Zealand as being the real Kāwharu when he's not. He's not even a Kāwharu. The Kāwharu is down in the Waikato area, Raglan. That's where he comes from. So Ngaire is his father, and Wikatia and that lot. I know all that lot. So we can go. That's the date there. The date, and then the next birth certificate. Those are two instruments I use against those landowners on Cook Street that can't bring up something like this. None of them can. None of those chiefs, the Ngāti Whātua, can come up with something better than that. Then they're gone. They're gone on just that. So there, that's 1834. That's the flag time. When that flag was around, this one here, this male, Otai Manukau, male, was alive. So there, he's got every right to that flag than anybody else, really, as an original native surname of the land, not someone that came in from somewhere else. So there, that's being blunt. That's being blunt without any batting of the eyelid on that certificate. So yeah, we can carry on now. We can go to just a proof of claim, what you call a proof of claim. That affidavit. So Otai, right. We can go to page 120.
20.
Kāwharu the Giant. They signed it. All those people that went to Hill, the main ones here. You can see Mohi Manukau's name signed there. You can see some from Kaipara signing there, and in Manirewa Marae, we got booted off the new marae at the airport, the Auckland airport, because King Tuhatia wanted to come, and Mohi Manukau said no. When he said no, King Tuhatia kicked us off the marae, and so there was a tangi on a funeral on at Manirewa Marae, so they let us use the other marae in Manirewa at the same time as the funeral was going on to have our hui and sign these documents. And weather was no good at the time. So there's all the whakapapa, or the genealogy on that day we put together. All those to claim Auckland and One Tree Hill title up there, and they used the real Kāwharu's gravesite up. There used to be a gravesite with steel bars around his grave up there. They pulled it down and put a footpath there, and they walk over his grave every day. Everybody in New Zealand and the world come there to go up to see John Campbell, Logan Campbell Memorial of a British instead of the real one that was there in the first place. That was a Manukau tribesman land at Cornwallis, at Manukau Harbour, that was sold by the British as Manukau land from the Manukau Land Company in Glasgow. So all of that's going to come out in the open in front of Ngāti Whātua. They can't do anything about that. And so there we can skip past it. Those are just legal instruments I used at that time of Mohi Manukau's treaty claims. I spent over 6 years putting this together with him at the time of doing research for him for free. Just time to do it with him. So we can go past here now. Durval Island. I brought a ropu up from Nelson with Ross Kawharu. He's a descendant of Kawharu, the real Kawharu, and brought his family up to One Tree Hill. And what's his name? Fane was there. A fellow called Fane, a Pākehā guy called Fane. Graham Fane was there. It was at the funeral on One Tree Hill, and the three Ratana ministers. I just forget that. Owen was one, and I forget what's the other one, and Mohi Manukau. So there. That's a challenge to the Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei, to One Tree Hill and the whole of Auckland area with that lot. So there we can go to page. We're getting to it, and until we get to the end bit. Glasgow, Scotland, there, where all our titles are. That's why I wanted to go there and pick them up. I've still got to go back and pick them up. Page 129. We go to page 129. There should be multi proprietary there. Follow the money on page 129. I'm sure I got the right.
Here it is.
I got that. Hey, there's one sign. That's signed. They've been signed by the chief. Here, there's motu proprio. I signed this on 2015 before we went into Cook Street. I used motu proprio to take Cook Street, and here we are again. Going to do the same thing and use motu proprio to take it. That was the UN Federal Marshals, Te Kawanata Ho Paul. He was the one that's supposed to read all these documents and understand them. He's the CEO of that group with John Monga and Gavin Marsich, but Gavin was leading them inside Cook Street offices to remove them. And then he rang me up on the phone. I was on the road because I contracted him to do it. He rang me up to come down, that they had police troubles. And so I went down, and the police told me to stay out on the road, and so they can deal with it. But they still locked me up because I didn't do what they did in the office. So there's their seal there. So we can't use them because they didn't get the keys for me for the office. So I'm expecting the sheriffs to get the keys for me so I can change the locks and go back in where I was supposed to be in 2015 if they didn't produce the titles against the Manukau titles. So there, that's that. So there, they failed to do that and got us landed up in prison for nothing. Didn't go to prison for anything, but people throwing things up. There's a lot of people on the media and everybody I got a bone to pick with as well, with £1 trillion on their head for writing bad things about me. And there's still some of it there. And that guy Slater was the worst of them, writing bad things on my website and everything on his website about me. And so the tables will turn. Importance of multi-property. Oh, this is the part I wanted to read. But according to the new Advanced Catholic Encyclopedia Multipropria in Latin stands for of his own accord and is the name given in the official divorce by the Pope personally. Now, this is not the bit I wanted to read. This bit down a little bit. Multipropria on the same bit there. No, carry on, up a bit. Up a bit. No, the other way. Yeah, that bit where it says no, up a bit.
In the case
Oh
of
no, I missed. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. It said that he's the highest trust in the world. There it is. Just hold it there. It's where that big bunch of words are. So the United States or United Kingdom or have bank account anywhere in the planet, then motu proprio is the highest legal instrument. No question. So
yeah.
that's it's the highest legal instrument, highest legal. That's what I wanted to make stress out. What is saying about the
You're a
Pope.
member
But
of the
he's got
United Nations or recognized
yeah.
by the United States or the United Kingdom. You have a bank account anywhere on the planet, then a motu proprio is the highest legal instrument, no question.
Yes, so that's what I'm going on and citing these bits, but they're in the counts anyway. They're all in the counts. We can go past this, but it's good reading for anybody who can see a court case going together successfully. We're going in to win, not to lose. We're here to win a case, and we'll use every legal instrument in the book to throw at them. So that's that. Understand this. Thanks to the guy. So we can keep rolling to not that one. We'll finish that one. Page 100. What are we on now? What page are we on?
131.
151. 155.
131. Right? Which one do you want?
Just go. Yeah, those are people's impressions of motu proprio there. So that's good for reading. We can go to page 153.
153, yeah.
$153.
Yeah, 153. That's the Pope again, yeah.
Oh, we've done this one. I've gone and did it twice. We've been through this.
That's the same.
Carry on.
Repeat.
Yep. I didn't realize I did it twice. So we go to 155. These are the pound notes. We've put these. Jamie, Patrick, and I put these together, and so we're going to redesign them with a printing machine, and we've got some idea of pictures that we can put on them and start writing them out. So that's coming up to do that. So we can go skip across to page 177. There's some pages are missing. I don't know what happened to those.
177, yeah.
I can fix those up, but it's the legal bits. These are all instruments. Go skip past all of that. That's all my writings. That means something, and I ran out of time to type at the time of putting it in.
77.
So so 177. We go to 170. There, here, right here. This is the part I wanted to read. This one, 107. This one here. There, right by. Yeah, this is the one by the order of Pope Francis. All bar association licenses are extinguished. Posted on April the 8th, 2015 by David Robinson. There's that guy, David Robinson. That's David Lester Straight is saying something about this guy. I think that's putting things together and making videos with my name in it. So there, he's the publisher of the motu proprio stuff. So there, I'm keep an eye on this guy, David Robinson. Look him up and see what he's all about. And so he'll be showing you where the money is, that the Pope and the gold, especially the gold, is gone. And so that's our interest. All of us around the world have a stake in that gold and the administration of it. And so it's not all clean stuff there. All bar association licenses are extinguished. So we're quoting or citing all of this lot. There will be no There will be no seizure of American retirement accounts, no false flags, you've got plenty of that, no murder, you've got plenty of that, no mayhem, no scalar weapons, you've got plenty of that deployed. That's what the Pope wrote this for, because he was saying there's too much fraud, so I'll get rid of it. There will be no deceptive offers in commerce, there's that word commerce, seeking to exchange gold for land or human capital under conditions of non-disclosure and deceit. See, so there's what they're doing in Cook Street, and the banks and the lawyers and everybody here. There will be an end to this criminality and to this complacency of the church and of the American cardinals and archbishops responsible for the misadministration of the courts. There you go. This is the answer for everyone who wants to watch this court hearing, because we're making this real and making it live to everybody to do the same. After we get Cook Street sorted, you can do the same with this authority and this organization as one Crown Sovereign Moai and King William Trust. So there, that's the creditor. Or there will be hell on earth, Cardinal George, literally, and it will not come against the innocent Americans. The left hand of God will come for those who are responsible and unrepentant. I put those in black so that I can highlight what I can cite. The Treaty of Verona, all bar association license are extinguished by order of Pope Francis. All attorneys, all clerks, every member of the judicial system operating these frauds and oppressions become 100% individually and commercially liable as of the 70 September the 1st, 2013. They had 3 years to 2016 to do something about their fraud, and they haven't yet. They're still committing the same fraud, so we go them for this. The banking cartels and governmental services corporations have been given 3 years to clean up their acts from the top to bottom, to come into compliance with the original equity contract owed to the Americans, and to stop operating in criminal default. So we've had lots of default on Cook Street, heaps of it. So there, these are our instruments, people, that you use from now on in a King's Bench magistrate court, right? I suggest that you get over your idea that it is the voter's responsibility. No. May God bless you the same extent, and God bless others. This is Anna Maria Wilhelma Hannah Sophia Russinger von Ressenstein von Leto. Okay, so there, this has been put together by her. So those are the Pope's words she's quoting, and so we can move on from there. So there, that's our weapon. And I put all this red in the letters in red to highlight what we're saying. My Crown Federal State King William IV Admiralty Court Martial Law Sheriff. That's directed to him. Why we say state is because the 250 countries are a state of this joint British New Zealand partnership in this flag. So there we can, anyone to take information any way they wish. They said no one thing is abundantly clear whether or not one is awakened enough to believe the facts under their nose. United States of America, for is of Crown, Vatican, Swiss bank property. So that's that bit. Default contract fraud created by levy debtors, Vatican City, City of London, Washington, D.C., Crown private companies. So they created all this fraud. And that's where it's come from. Count evidence against 1/61 Cook Street, Auckland, landowners James Brown, Simon Roundtree, Tim Duthie is a policeman, and Aaron Pascoe is a policeman heading the police officers, conveyance lawyer, and others severally as third-party levy debtors in a cover-up fraud land title transfer property. They were all involved in fraudulently supporting a crooked land transfer. That's why they couldn't do anything about me, locking me up for whatever crime they thought I was committing. I wasn't committing no crime. I was following the law. These count citations is proof. All other levy debtor named identified fraud persons are accessories to Queen Elizabeth II fraud, Pope Francis fraud, Vatican City Parliament, Legislative Authority, Catholic Church fraud, Rothschild family bank fraud, EU fraud, USA, Washington fraud, DC fraud, NATO fraud, Bilderberg fraud, Jesuits, generals, mafia, terrorism fraud, Queen Elizabeth II, EU, HM Treasury fraud, New Zealand, Canada, Australia, Britain, Commonwealth government fraud, Bank of England fraud, UN fraud, IMF fraud, Crown fraud. So all fraud. One fraud equals all the fraud in this motu proprio that we're making statement today in this court. Citations, New Zealand marshals, UK sheriffs enforce.
What's he called?
What? Site name fraudster, evict off the land, seize all property. So there, these are orders to go ahead. Here's where the counts start of the motu proprio letter order that he put out to the world. So I split it up. I split all his letter up into counts and in a legal system of Wales and England court system of counts in any court case. So there, I'll just read out the red bits as you scroll through and look through. That's count one, full view. My motive makes law, destroys every corporation in the world. So there, that's that. I don't know whether that opens up or that's not an open up site. So there's some site you can open up there, or it doesn't open up.
It might open up.
HTML.
That one doesn't. Yeah, this one.
Hey?
Do you want me to open it up?
Oh, okay. You can. Yep. Yeah. I didn't want to take.
Yeah. No, I don't want to lose off the position. I don't want to lose off the page, like, so we'll just go through.
No, carry on going. No, carry on going. No, we just go through. I want to look at the counts and read the counts that matter in this court hearing for Cook Street.
Okay.
So there in count 2, the Vatican created the Will Trust using birth certificate to capture the value of each individual's future productive energy. A fiat monetary system contributes their people's value to this Will Trust identified by the SSSIN or EIN numbers, for example, maintained in the Vatican registry. Corporations worldwide. He's in charge of all the corporations in the world, meaning every country. Individuals become corporate fictions through their birth certificates, are connected to the Vatican through law. Vatican to crown, to bar, to laws, to the judge, to the people, and through money, Vatican birth accounts value to IMF, International Monetary Fund, to Treasury, Federal Reserve, to banks, to people, loans, to judges, administration, and sheriff's confiscation. See that bit added? To sheriff's confiscation, it's added in. So there's where our authority comes from to seize any land in the world, right there, if you have any instruments to go with your title. And count 3, judges administer birth trust account in court matters favoring the court and the banks, acting as presumed beneficiary. They're acting as beneficiary since they have not properly advised the true beneficiaries, which is you, the sovereign, of their own trust. That's for that count. Then count 4, judges, attorneys, bankers, lawyers, law enforcement, and all public official servants are now held personally liable for their confiscation of true beneficiaries' homes, cars, money, and assets, false imprisonment, like me getting in prison, deception, harassment, and coercion. There's that jab bit, coercion jab bit, right there, of the true beneficiaries' trust funds. See, so there you go. Yeah, you can use these in your. This is what I wanted Sean Maguire to use in his court case to win it. Where he's going through at the moment, he can still use it if they haven't finished. count 5. I'll just go to count 6, the red bits. Oh, we can go through that. Motu proprio in Latin stands for of his own accord. I'll go to count 6. A motu proprio is the highest form of legal instrument, which is what we're using, on the planet, in accordance in its prevalence, influence, and structure to the Western Roman world. Count 7, overriding anything that could be issued by the United Nations. See, we can go to the United Nations with this, the inner and middle temple, the crown of the Great Britain, or any other monarch, and indeed by. So we can go all that lot. Count 8, any head of state or body politic. We can go that lot. If you are a member of the United Nations or recognized by the United States or the United Kingdom, where we're going, so there, that bit. Count 9, have a bank account anywhere on the planet, then a motu proprio is the highest legal instrument, no question. These are his own words that are split out. I split them up. So you can quote these or cite them in your court case. Count 10, in the case of motu proprio issued by Pope Francis on July the 1st, July the 11th, 2013, it is an instrument of several functions and layers. That's what we've done with our court hearing. We made lots of functions and layers of laws ourselves. So count 11, in the first instance, it may be legally construed to apply to the local matters of the administration of Holy See. That means any church in any country that's going under Catholic Church, or any church for that matter. Count 12, in the second instance, the document relates to the fact that the Holy See is the underpinning to the whole global system of law. Global system of law. We're going to 250 countries with that citation and count. And therefore, count 13, I split it up. Anyone holding an office anywhere in the world is also subject to these limits, and that immunity no longer applies. No immunity for anyone hiding away from being sued, or like us, being debted with a pound note. So there, count 13. Thirdly, we see the Holy See and the Universal Church, count 14. I'll just go to count 14, clearly separating itself from the nihilist world of the professional elite who continue to be proven time and time again to be criminally insane, barking, raving mad, and with no desire to do anything honorable. Count 15. Until they are torn from power by anybody who cares for the law. That's us. We care for the law. There, right there. We care for the law. Those red bits. I set them up so that we can use those to go against them. The age of the Roman cult, as the first formed in the 11th century, and it was hijacked by the Catholic Church, first formed by the Carolingians in the 8th century, then the count 17, Holy Christian Empire or Byzantine Church by the 11th, 13th century, and the world at large by the 16th century ceased to exist around March 14, 2013, upon the election of Pope Francis. So there, the empire of Christian empire church was no longer relevant in as far as the Pope is concerned. So there, we can skip through that lot. We can skip through all these black ones because I'll just only go to the red ones. Yeah, carry on going. Those we can apply those as well, but I'm just going through the main ones. The main ones. Those are all relevant as well. They destroyed this. You can't find this anywhere now. They've taken it all away. Whoops. Carry on going. Well, hang on. Well, I was going to go to. Hang on. I'll get my book. I was going to go to certain ones here. Just hold it there. where have I gone? Oh, 66, count 66. Go back to 66 there. Those persons who serve as representatives, managers, or directors, as well as persons who even de facto manage or exercise control over entities, public servants, directly dependent on the Holy See Trust beneficiaries, and listed in the registry through birth certificates of canonical, judicial persons, legal fiction represented by a birth certificate or CAPS name, kept by, I'll put that in caps like that, kept by the Governorate of the Vatican City State. So there, that was one I wanted to look at as well. And 69, 69, what does that say? When the same matters are prosecuted in other states, like we are a state here, the provisions in force in Vatican City or concurrent jurisdictions shall apply, shall, that word shall apply to us. That count 69, I should have put in red. So we're using that in this court hearing tonight on Cook Street. So we go to 75.
Yeah.
75. Go to 70. What is 70? Oh, the 75. The Vatican created a world trust using the birth certificate to capture the value of each individual future productive energy. Each state, province, and country in the fiat money system contributes their people's value to this world trust identified by the SIN or AIN numbers, for example, maintained in the Vatican registry. Corporations worldwide, individuals became corporate fictions through their birth certificate, are connected to the Vatican through law, the Vatican, or to crown, to bar, to laws, to judge, to people, and through the money, Vatican birth account value, to IMF, to Treasury, Federal Reserve, to banks, to people, loans, to judges, count 76, administration, and sheriff's confiscation. That's the very important one that the sheriffs are going to be using and citing in 70, 68, 69, hang on, 75. We've been through 75. Now that was all I went to, and I got up to. I didn't do any more. So we'll just scroll through the rest of these, and we don't have to read any more because that was sufficient to win a case. Our case on Cook Street. Carry on, Guy.
Count 77.
We've been through that.
You put these three
Count.
together, so I'll just read this bit out. Like, so count 77, judges administrate the birth certificate trust account in court matters favouring the court, and the count 65, banks acting as the presumed beneficiary. Since they have not properly advised the true beneficiary, this is very important that people need to understand, of their own trust. Count 78, judges, attorney, bankers, lawmakers, law enforcement, and all public officials, servants, are now held personally liable for their confiscation of true beneficiaries' homes, cars, money, and assets, false imprisonments, deception, harassments, and conversions of the true beneficiary trust funds. And that's everybody's trust funds, guys. And you've all been done.
Yeah,
and that goes on for your children too, by the way.
Yeah, so we're claiming all the wealth that they've stolen from the people, and that's why we put the pound note over them as mortgage on the heads. So there, that's getting near the end of it. Oh, this one here, 85. In the second instance, the document relates to the fact that the Holy See is the underpinning to the whole global system of law. So they are the law of the whole global system here. Anyone holding an offence anywhere in the world is also subject to these limits, and that immunity no longer applies. They can't, the judge have no leg to stand on with this one.
Yeah.
He got no immunity. He got no immunity from the highest lawmaker in the world, the Pope. So there, you use this one and against a judge, and the judge will run out the back. That's what I wanted Sean Maguire to do. I sent it to him because I don't think his court case is finished yet. And just quote that one. Cite. All he had to do is cite count 85 of motu propria, Pope, and they'll walk out the back of the court. And he can walk straight out and charge them for inconvenience and all the rest of what we're putting the onus back on them, the debt back on their heads. Count 86. Thirdly, we see the Holy See and Universal Church clearly separating itself from the nihilist world, that's the fraudulent world of the professional elite. So he's distanced himself from the elite who continue like now, like what they're doing now with the WEF and all of them, to be proven time and time again to be criminally insane. He's calling them insane. All these WEF, NW, New World Order, in NATO, United States, UN, all insane, like Biden, insane people. You got lunatics running parliaments, but bark, raving mad, and with no desire to do anything honorable. Counts 87, until they are torn from power by anybody who cares for the law. That's us. We're going against these thugs and pirates, what I call them, on the high seas, and put this Pope's law on them, and win the case and charge them. We're judges now, and they're criminals in our court. Count 88, the age of Roman cult as first foremost of the 11th century, and that's hijacked by Catholic Church, first formed by the current, I said that before, I think, empire, by Byzantine Church by the 13th century, and the world at large, that's another one, 16th century, ceased to exist around March 14th, 2013, upon the election of the Pope Francis. Oh no, I didn't say that one before. So there, once he got elected, it all ceased. All of that carry on. Count 90. This is the last one. This document issued by Pope Francis is historic on multiple levels, but most significant above all in that it recognizes the supremacy of the golden rule, the same teaching ascribed to Jesus Christ, and the intimate connection to the rule of law, that all are subject to the rule of law. No one is above the law. So that's his law. He's saying no one's above his law, God's law. And so we're saying the same thing. And only thing is we've got a law God that doesn't steal like the Pope. He stole those obelisks and for his church. And so that's not a very good God. And they stole the Moai statue. That's not a very good God. So then we go down here. Oh, this is just a index of everything right through the book, but I didn't finish it off. So I'll finish it off one day. But we've got enough to do a court case on. In all those pages are instruments, legal instruments. Every picture is a legal instrument, and as a picture is more than 1,000 words of information. That's where I ended here. I got tired to carry on writing. So all those numbers, I've got to fill those in of the whole book as a summary, which is supposed to go with the book, so you know where you go and go to each page. So we can just quote the pages we refer to find the information. So that's what was required for our court. That's our business, to quote a page so that the people in the court can go to see. But they can see on their mobile phones all this information to follow through with us on their mobiles and their laptops and computers. So that's the book we've gone through, and then we're enforcing that now. All those citations of the Pope on our documents and all our court hearings. I think we're on our 10th or 9th or 10th court hearing. We're using that now right on top of all those court hearings we've had so far, and making them authentic and legal. We're doing legal now, and making the flag is legal to use as our instrument, as well. So that's a big instrument to use the flag on anybody who gets in the road of our contract between here and Britain in commercial business. So that's all it's for, commercial business, and what we're doing on this court hearing. So there we can go to the next book, and I'll skip through that very quickly. Just push on the next one, which is what have I done? Oh, I've got to go back. Where's my, what have I done? Are you still there, Andy?
Yeah, I'm on it, sharing it now, John. You see it?
Oh, okay. I've just got to find my camera again. I've gone and put me off my camera.
It's good for people
I can still carry on.
to hear what the motor proprio is there, John. It's so good.
Yeah, that's the main. That was the main. That was the main part of this hearing tonight. Was for them to read it and understand what the Pope is saying. And we should have had this in action. Now the thugs have got ahead of us because we haven't applied it to any of anybody's court hearings. So we're going through the whole world now, and anybody in any other country watching this video can do the same as what we're doing, and cite in any court hearings in their courts, because the judges are liable. They are liable, and instead of walking away and just dropping a case, we charge them for the inconvenience of our time, and putting us on a spot. And they're committing the crime, not us. So I can't find my camera. Where's my camera? Hang on. I'll just go out there. Oops. I gotta find my camera. I don't know what I did with it. It's supposed to be here somewhere. Zoom.
Just gotta have my tools for my
Oh, okay.
Forgot. Oh,
Oh, where's my camera? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still watching it. I'm just. I can see you, Claire.
I can't. Yeah, I know, but I can't get my screen back.
All
I
right.
don't know what I did. I pressed the button thinking I was going to look at something.
This is the same as that one. No, that's the same as that one, isn't it? That one and that one's the same.
Doing.
Yeah, so I don't need that one.
Oh man.
So there's a one with
There we go.
1 to
Yeah,
1
I'm
9.
back.
One with there's a 9-page.
Yeah,
document.
this is the one.
This one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. I just want to skip through this. I won't read anything, but I just want to explain a little bit through it. And
Okay.
so we've got the Queen there. We've got Judge Sean Elias at the time with these frauds with John Key was going on, and there's a Judge Mackey, David Lindsay Mackey, that my documents are in the High Court. If I wanted to go back to the High Court with this case, if we have money, as soon as we start liquidating people and their properties for fraud, then we can pay for anything. But we just look after ourselves in our own court with our own full control. So that's One Tree Hill there with the flag flying. The time we had and railing up top of One Tree Hill with Mohi Manukau and the Ratana ministers, or Apoto, or what they called them. And so they blessed everything we did with the real Kafaru to claim that title back of the land and One Tree Hill back and Cook Street at the same time. So we're going through that motion with this court hearing. And there's I forget what that guy's name is, but these were the ones. That's George Sambelis, the Navy. I wrote to these two. I think this guy on the left was a commissioner or something, a minister anyway. And this other guy here, Horton, the army chief at the time, of these documents. So this here was just the letters I gave to the eviction notice for the Cook Street owners of the land or proprietors. So they'll get this same one again. So I don't have to put anything on it with the sheriffs. It's just a eviction notice like normal to evict them off the land again with this time. We'll use it. So I'll put their names here already. Yep, sheriff, the UK and New Zealand sheriffs to Home Guard sheriffs, eviction of all occupants. So this is just for them to hand it to those owners in their office. I've got everything for them, and all the documents I'll send over to Gregory, and he can follow it up with the private investigator should we need him. But he's also a Graham Mallet. He's an ex-Scotland Yard that I used at the time, and he spent a lot. I haven't even paid him yet for all the time he put in, and I haven't paid Utah Church lawyer for all that he put into it. So I could recontract them again and pay them with a pound note to do all the conveyancing and searching out, because you need them. We haven't got a license to search out people's properties and value them up, assess all the value of the properties. You need that side, the Crown Queen side, private investigators to do that job, unless we can do it ourselves. But they're experienced, and so we'll have to get authority of the Navy to go and do that job. So there's still a bit more. What are you looking at now? Private legal contract. So the word legal is these instruments are legal to use against anybody with the motu proprio. Constitution sheriffs, that's what we call them, constitution sheriffs. That's the right legal term. And we use the 1835 Constitution, not the 1852 Queen Victoria Constitution. We go back to 1834 Flag Constitution sheriffs. So there, they can act in that capacity higher than the Queen Victoria Constitution that New Zealand government got rid of and made a 1986 Constitution inferior to this flag Constitution. We're making this flag do all the work now and make it go and capture everybody. That's criminal. So that's just a full account of the owners there. James Pierce Brown in personam. That's his fictitious name with the capital, and we put them in capital like that because that's how we express to talk in their lingo, their legalese language, and so they're those two, and capture them as normal persons, natural persons, and corporate persons, like here, corporate humans or people. So that's those two. Those are the two main ones that we're going after, that have their names on the certificate of title on the land, and Utah Choi will remove their names off the title, and it'll go into the Moai Crown King William IV Trust account or ownership, our crown ownership for the whole world in 250 countries. So that's where all the money goes, and all the gold and everything that comes back. Then we can go off that into our own company account here, the Ngātawewa Aotea account that belongs to all New Zealanders. All natural New Zealanders, sovereigns, without a king or queen on the throne, living person on the throne. So we assume the throne as we being beneficiaries of that throne as surrogate king. So so I signed. There's my electronic signature. So we can use electronic signature and electronic stamps or seals. These are all electronic on any document that we don't have to stamp them with stamps. We just use these because they are legal instruments as well. as long as they are identified what their meaning is. So there, using constitutional sheriff Gregory Cook, he's got his name there, and Tanya Ramika. And so the amount of what I'm going to make the contract, which will be more than what the last contract was on this contract, on this job that I give them to do. On the 14th of July 2022, this writ warrant is going out. So it usually takes 7 or 10 days to execute it, but we can extend the time. I'm extending the time. 7 days is maximum time to execute an eviction notice after it's served on the court. So I'm extending it out because they have to learn how to do things on their own, as by day, till I'm satisfied that they can go ahead and do it. I won't let them do it if I'm not confident that they're picking it up. And I think Gregory's back here joining us. He's come back from his meeting. So there, that's a private thing between me and the sheriffs, what the contract will be, and any other contract after that. That's with the hapus will have a contract. The ones that come our way, they'll get a contract for their businesses, and it'll go out to any incorporations that want to come on this side from that side. Will get a pound note dished out in lieu of the gold, as being our right to start writing pound notes against it as equity of our missing gold, that dragon there. So there we can go ahead legally to do that and let everybody in the world know, and even the authorities watching us, what we're going to do with it, with a pound note, and start writing it up contracts. That's with all industries in New Zealand, companies. But we're checking out every company, and land titles will be checked first to see if they are clean and not bringing fraud in, like the Pope said. He wanted to get rid of fraud. There's a lot of fraud happening on any title of land, where they got the land from, where they're getting the money from, and all this sort of thing. So they'll be checked out individually of their titles and their businesses. So they're doing this. The World Economic Forum and NATO and the World Health Organization and UN, EU, they're all going to do this and search everybody's assets, and they will take them off them. That's what they're going to do. The World Economic Forum is going to remove everybody's properties and take it and confiscate them once they get going. So this is we're going up against that regime and put the onus back on them and confiscate them before they confiscate us. So this is what, it's very important to get this one right, and then the rest will fall like a house of cards on this writ warrant and eviction notice. So this is a one-page contract with the seals on it. So the sheriffs will use this seal and that dragon to recover the debts with the licensed debt collector, Graham Allen. So those seals on this eviction notice allows them to go into the property. Those marshals had the same thing, but they didn't know what to do with it. They didn't have enough time to learn it properly, and so and not skilled up enough, and going under a Hawaiian jurisdiction seal, which was counterproductive to what was meant to be. But there was nobody else to do the job, and so I just let them go ahead to see if they could. So that's that document out of the way, Fendi. We're getting through it.
Would I be right in thinking that these constitutional sheriffs could therefore be used to go back in the same sense as reclaim the property of the land? They could also be used in the same sense to go back and reclaim the property of the offspring of the mothers and fathers who have had their children stolen by these fraudulent family courts.
Yeah, that they can do that as well as probate to claim back their inheritance.
Yeah.
That the crown keeps. The crown keeps and makes money out of dead people. And they're doing that, and also to claim back children that are missing.
Yeah.
And being separated from their families. All of that we can do that with the surrogate, what they call a surrogate court. We're acting as a surrogate court to do that. If you look up surrogate court, that takes care of all that that you're talking about. So I'll put that on the website as well. Just look that up, surrogate court, and that'll take care of all the missing children, all the pedophile things going on, and all of that. All the wealth, the wealth, the properties, the houses that are being confiscated through mortgage sales and all that sort of thing. That comes into that surrogate care, surrogate court, and so we're acting on their behalf to recover what they can state that they've lost, especially mortgages and children and families lost because of the system. So we're going to put those cases in the courts at some stage, but we only need to do one, and the whole lot will fall in, and they just need to put their claim in to this court, and from any country they can register their name as a claimant and put their story in, and we put it in an affidavit and run it through straight away, and claim back their amount that they say that they're owed. So there, we just write out a pound note to what they're missing, and that should fix that problem up. And money to pay the military or navy or peace officers or sheriffs to go after them to get those people back and their properties back. So that's how this court works. So there, that covers it. Any other question on that one, Andy?
No, that was. I mean, just looking at that. I mean, it's just an obvious. That's exactly would be the correct way of, because I mean, obviously getting the money first, isn't it, to fund and
yeah, getting the money. Yeah, getting the money first. Yeah,
yeah. So
getting the money first. It's liquidate. It's just it's to liquidate properties, and that'll kick it off.
And also
once we get
case history on the first case that should be, yeah, beautiful, yeah. No, that was just.
They can. It's pretty straightforward to make a case like that through this court. It's quick. They don't have to come back to another day and do it. It's all done like tikanga. The native our people used to have verbal courts. What they said goes. Finish the court straight away. There was no more going from week to week to week collecting money for people locked up in prison, and they're collecting the money off your birth certificate for you being locked up and all this sort of bailing you out, and then making you wait for 6 months for a court case while they collect money from your birth certificate, the crooks. So that's how that works. We'll cut that all out.
It's a lot easier with transparency. John. It's a lot easier when it's transparent and the truth being told. You can see it clearly.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
The deception, they'll just keep leading you down every garden path they want. But, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Truth.
Well, John, I just want to say something.
Yeah. Alfred wants to say something.
Yeah, there's evidence in the Duns and Bradstreet that for example, and it's the same as every other country, that for this country, because I did the calculations on it for the number of inmates in the New Zealand jails and all that, there's less than 10,000, and the Department of Corrections they profit every year $1 trillion, Department of Corrections, and if you divide that by the amount of inmates to how much they extract from the trust accounts, it's about $101 million per inmate per year, and if you look at the USA, where the Department of Corrections are making a profit of $1 trillion per year. In the United States, the Department of Corrections over there are making $1 trillion per day from the Department of Corrections through people's trust accounts. So it's just supporting what John has just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll put a mortgage, right, the same mortgage they put on us. We put a mortgage or a lien right over the top of them, put up against a 970 million trillion pound note, and that'll screw the whole lot, all their wealth off them.
Yeah.
And anybody can pot anybody breaking the law and put them in this court anywhere in the world. And so you'll be very busy once you get one out of the way. Yeah. So there, those pound notes you can see there, we'll force those and start printing them straight away, and have paper money for a start in digital. We can go ahead and do that, and they shouldn't get in the road.
Yeah.
The Crown, the Crown,
Yeah.
operating their private businesses.
Yeah. Awesome, John.
Yeah.
This is definitely.
This eye
This is
opener.
definitely the way.
It's the right time to do it now. It's the right time to do it just at the last minute too, because they didn't think this was going to come along.
Well, we have to do it
Because
of what they're doing. We have to do it. We have to counter what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
else the whole planet's screwed.
Yeah, the whole lot's gone. And they're still holding all that wealth and ready to dish it out from the World Bank and from the IMF and the United Nations. They're at the point where they're going to dish it out because no claimants have come and claimed it. We are the claimants. We are the beneficiaries of those trusts, of at least the Queen Victoria Trust and the Sister Trust is the Pope's trust, but it's still everybody's birth certificates in the world that they're using, and the Pope only use it through Admiralty law of birthing at the wharf, and the woman, the mother of the child, is taken away into the Pope's registry. That's Admiralty. That's Admiralty. That's where he's usurping this king flag and our authority for the flag.
Because this is where I can see the reason why for this COVID-19 agenda of trying to exterminate millions and millions of people on this planet, so they don't have to pay them out and keep the funds.
Yeah, they want to keep it all.
Yeah,
they want to keep all this wealth and not have to distribute it.
Yeah.
But they're making out they're going to dish it out to humanity. That word humanity, and it's all that they keep control of it and give you peanuts. Yeah, that's what they'll do again. That you won't get what you're entitled to. Just like the treaty claims here, less than 1% of what's stolen, they get away with.
1% of 1% they give.
Yeah, so we can go 100% on them to recover the debt and then bankrupt them. All of them in Parliament. And everyone that's in the same complicit in the fraud.
Right.
They're part of it. Every corporation business is complicit in the fraud, what we're talking about tonight in this case, for the whole world watching, including those common law people. You've got no equity in a common law court. You have to come into this court to get it. You haven't got any legal instruments in a common law court. This is a common law court, but this is the commercial side of a common law, King's Common People court. This belongs to them. If they only know how corporate system supposed to be working for us, not for those elite. They switched it around to their elite families. We're off us, and the king made it for us, not for them.
I concur.
and they got parliaments to make sure that we don't get it. That's all of governments and parliaments are under strict orders from the New World Order and from the EU Parliament and WEF, that the people have to listen to their advice and not your own. And we're the sovereigns, they're not. We are the sovereigns of the land, they're not. They're servants.
Well, you'd say that they've hidden the truth, but actually the truth's there, but they put in people to just to keep people confused so that they never can actually see the truth, or when they do see the truth, that they can't believe the truth. They can't see what's actually really there, and they're just like told, no, you don't know what you're talking about all the time, and it's actually really here.
Yep.
And people that are explaining that to the people that you don't know what you're talking about, they possibly don't know themselves, or they are there deliberately to, confuse you and send you down that garden path.
So we've got
to get to it.
So we've got land instruments. We've got money instruments and claimants to go up against them. We got debt instruments, and we creditor their debtor or judgment debtor in this court. So that's tidies that one up, and they're in default. They're in default because of affidavits of truth. And this video tonight is an affidavit of truth against anybody that we accuse as fraudsters, pirates, and thugs on the high seas, operating private business for their good, not our good. So you get rid of them, and their trusts. You get rid of them because they're not doing anything for the people. That's that. That's a one document instrument, or how many pages? 13 pages.
9
instrument with all those.
Pages. This one.
Yeah. So this is what those owners were reading in that video I took of them in their office, and snapped them on a picture reading the document. So they really served. They got served 3 times on video, and that's enough to make a case. The Land Information Office and the government ministers, they forged their documents to keep them from getting caught out. They covered, the police covered them up as well. Police covered the fraud up. I've got the original documents for the titles here. These are the original site documents. They're all tattered now because I've used them so much in huis, in meetings, and see, it's got here rejected on Mohi Manukau's title, and so, but it's tattered because it's been through a lot and going from marae to marae, and
Who rejected
the Land Information.
They rejected it?
Yeah, my lapse of caveat. You had 14 days to reject or go up against what I had registered. I had an unregistered interest, and if you have a look at the Maori Land Court rules, Maori have an interest in as an unregistered landowner. You can challenge any title, any what they have in Maori, can challenge any title on any land that came out of Maori land, and so so these titles come out of Maori land native. It was native title where these titles here came out of, native title. So there you can still go up, and I'm putting these Manukau titles up against them, but they won't do anything about it. They just won't. Ngāti Whātua don't want to know, because the Crown listened to them, and they've listened to each other and not the original title.
So it's just like my Waitangi unregistered claimant.
Yeah,
You know,
same as that.
As an unregistered claimant.
Yeah,
I didn't go in as a registered
Yeah.
claimant.
So as long as you lodged
Yeah.
it, you still have a claim.
Yeah.
So long as you got your Y number in,
Yeah.
your Waitangi number in.
Yeah, I got an MIR reference number,
Yeah.
not a claim, because the Y is for registered.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Once-
I got an MIR reference number
Yeah.
as an unregistered claimant.
Yeah. So you're not caught up
Yeah, that's
as
right.
in a contract.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you register, you're caught in
No,
their contract.
They've already signed over
Yeah.
on the registration date.
Yeah. So this one here, that pound note there, I made a figure. I can put any figure on it on a contract, and that one I put on at the time. I put a figure on it, and in pound notes on the Cook Street property, but it's gone up. Its value has changed. I have to do another assessment of. But I put £1 trillion on the end, so that covers anything anyway. And so I'm just trying to value up the land of a commercial piece of land in the city is higher value than out in the country. So whatever I put on a title finally on the land as equity, then that'll go right across the whole country as precedent case for land valuations. But Peter Selwyn, he's already got land valuations of his lands at Te Kaha in his hapu. So he's valuable in finding that. He's got the birth certificate values as well. So I just put higher end figures on it and be done with it. And they can't do anything about it anyway. So there, that's the original owner was Richard Bell, or was Jamie Peters. That's the guy that gave me all the titles, these titles I got here, to investigate, because he wanted a hand to help him, because they bankrupted him because he ran in too much debt on getting too much properties, and up in Whangaparoa, all the harbour properties over there, he put a lot of money in that, and properties downtown. So there, these are the three people at the time that the land changed hands under a mortgagee sale from Jamie Peters to Doug Rickard Bell. This fellow, Doug Rickard Bell, got the auction for $38 million for that Cook Street property. That's how much it was worth then in 2012. 2012, when I did the title over them, and put a writ warrant on the Bailey's real estate for selling the land, and not to sell it. Otherwise, I've got to put a writ warrant and bankrupt Bailey's real estate, the whole company. And there's another company in there as well. Bankrupt the lawyers, bankrupt the whole lot of them individually that got in my way of this contract. They're in contracts as well, but I pulled them into contract with me, then deal with them this way. So there, that's that one. We go to the next one. What's the next one?
That's the three that I've got, John.
Oh, that's the three that you got. There was another one I put in your email, or I sent in your messenger. It's in your messenger.
Yeah, there was.
I just sent. Yeah.
There was two of the same then, John, because I've opened.
Oh, two of the same. Oh, never mind. Now those were the three main ones. We've been through the whole lot. Now that's the end of that. And I just wanted to show you Mohi Manukau's certificate from the Freemasons for 50 years service. That's it there. It's on the website as well. So there, that's proof that he was being represented to me, and here initiated into the Freemasonry. Mohi Wiremu Manukau, brother. So that was July 1957. 50 years, Mohi, Peter, Brian, Capsule District Grand Master for North Island, New Zealand. Extend congratulations and felicitations for your long and devoted service to the order. So there, that's Mohi Manukau, who left me, who gave me his paramount chief position to carry on the Confederation of Chiefs in a commercial world. So there, that's that to those Freemasons who put all the title in the world together, the certificates together. That's the Freemasons' stake in the Crown business and the Crown's wealth. So So there's another document. These are just the smaller size ones to the big ones of Cook Street, and this is the Moai Crown King William IV Trust book there. That's to cover the where all the funding goes into that Crown entity that belongs to you, and as your stake in the Crown over the other Crown. So that's another document here of Cook Street. These are smaller versions of the bigger books, and this is there's another one here, another two smaller version ones than the big ones, and these ones are stamped by the Maori Land Court as well. So I went through the Maori Land Court to check them out. So I got a bone to pick with them, Maori Land Court. And this is the whakapapa. This is my genealogy for 4 pages of it, of my chiefs to New Zealand and where I come from, and 4 pages of it. So that's just me. With my whakapapa, it's very extensive to the East Island and the Tahitian Islands, Tahiti, where I come from. My people originally came, Kupe came from there as well. So, but this is me, the Wanoas, the Paringatais, the Apanuis, and the Huriwais, the 4 main ones at the east coast of North Island, New Zealand. So there, so that's that bit. And then we got one here, this one here for the Manukau and Wanoa family to Britain, that one. But I've only put bits of it on Facebook and on the website. But there's Mohi Manukau there. That's my predecessor with the title over New Zealand, and him in his Grand Lodge suit there. So this is our whakapapa genealogy connection to the Manukau and the Wanoa family, to 4 main tribes here, Ngāti Ngā Atua e Wā, or they call it Whā Atua. That's what Iri Manukau calls it. And you got Ngāti Wā Atua, and I can't see the other one here, but Waikato and Mataora, Mataora, and what's this? Ngāpui is up there, and Araroa, Araroa, and so and then you got the Europeans on the end. So you got Oropuke, which is the waka of the Morioris. That's Mohi's one on the carving that he's got for the Parliament up in Waitangi. That's supposed to be the whakamininga. This is supposed to be going into whakamininga. Never got there. This connection to Britain, and Waitaha is the second one. Waitaha, Oropuke, Waitaha, Aotea. What's this one? Oh, I can't read this one. Matuara, Arawa. Anyway, where is it? This is a native title, but that's what I wanted to show the people, that this is what I was taking to Britain to prove where the Manukau's and the Wanoas fit into British title, and so that's all there is there. Yeah, that's all I wanted to show on this video. Something about me and Mohi Manukau to claim over this government here that have nothing yet. I haven't seen nothing yet that come up next against that yet. I'm yet to see anybody that can claim any equity or wealth to the Vatican's trust and the Queen Victoria Trust yet. So we can talk about that at some stage with the jury and in this court, so that we can put our claim in as a confederation to anybody that's claiming those things. And I'm just saying here with George Watene, he's in this area, so we have to talk to him and see how he fits into the Confederation and what he's claiming, the 20% of the gold that belongs to us. So there, I want to make that statement tonight, that we have to talk to each other here, at least in the Waikato region. Money's down in this area. I always knew that. The titles are here in Arapuni, Cambridge, to the land, and the gold, by the looks of it, is here in this area of the Hauraki, that I can say that on this video as some evidence of the trust to all of us. It belongs to everybody in the world that cares to come and join us from their countries and use the same acts as what we do, and learn fast. And they only got 6 to 8 months to learn all this, and that's what Greg and Alfred and everybody else has to catch up to speed very quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah, and claim what belongs to us. That's what you call legal inheritance. And we got the legal documents to prove it, that we are the missing link. We are the missing people, that you, Andy, over there in Britain, you are our partners over there, and us here, everybody in the world, virtually, from an original contract between the chiefs and the British. There was one single contract that we put together with the king. Then the Queen picked that contract up and took it around the world, but it's still the chief's contract, the original 13 chiefs contract, verbal contract. A verbal contract or a piece of paper with writing on it is a contract. When they received it, and the king, he said he gave the consent that the chiefs were a sovereign people, nation, on that letter. Before it became a Declaration of Independence, that was dreamt up by this government, the Declaration of Independence, so they can make their own title out of it. But it was already official that this country was, with the 13 chiefs, the second party to the first party king. And so we've got the 30, how many chiefs after that, Elf? 30 or 34 or something, 25 after that or something.
Well, there was
Next.
At which point there was 13 chiefs, then there was 25, then there was 34.
So the ones that actually signed up,
and there was 18 that signed the codicil, but they're just witnesses.
yeah. So it really was the ones that picked the design.
That's right.
The ones that picked the design are the first second contractors that I care about legally.
Yes.
Because it gets altered after that.
Yeah.
Because the government here, they framed up the 1835 declaration. They didn't have to declare it. It was already done deal with the king before it became declared, so they can make a treaty out of it. Otherwise, they had no authority from anywhere. And now the government here has cut themselves off from Britain altogether, and they have no sovereign right to Britain and the Queen.
Well, that's always been a false narrative promoted by the New Zealand government, that the 1835 Constitution, He Whakaputanga, was a forerunner for the treaty. That is falsehood. You know, the King's Court bench the chiefs had no intention of entering into a contract with the Queen. You know.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So when you look at the flag in the English language, it's a Confederation flag. It's not a Whakaputanga flag.
Yeah.
Because that was put together later.
Yeah. And it's a confederation of chiefs.
Yeah. That's
not chieftainesses.
Yeah. It's the original interpretation of an agreement, verbal or a letter is a contract. As soon as somebody else acknowledges it, verbally or written, it's a contract. It's a contract from that point on. Even the picture of the flag they want to choose is evidence of an impending contract. That started it all off. So there, we stick to that just to clear all the hash of what they're doing in the Maori world of claiming the flag, and it's not working for them. It will never work for them. They fly it with the Maori government. It will never work for them because it wasn't made for a Maori government. It was made for native chiefs, not a Maori government. That was never heard of in 1834, 1835, up to 1945. There was no such name as Maori government. It was only the war period that the Maori came out in the Maori Land Court. It was 1862 Maori Land Act, not Maori Land Act, Native Land Act, and it's been a Native Land Act ever since, right up to the 1940s.
Yeah, there's no mention.
Modification. It's the modifying it. They're changing it. They changed. It's not the original. Nothing. You've got to go back to the original.
It's not the original.
Yeah, that's right. If you refer to, if you look at the 1835 our written constitution, as well as the 1840 Treaty of Waitangi, there's no mention of the Maori race in both documents. There's no mention of that the rangatira and the that the rangatira were a Maori race.
I'll paint a similarity. I'll paint another equation of similar the same thing, but I'll paint the same as what's happening in the court system. So, as we've said, the original formation of a court system would be the original layer of information with a statement of truth. Yeah, which is then created when it's laid at the court. They'll give it a case number. Now that original case number will never exist. Then they'll create another case number and they'll graft that on top. And then that's where it starts to exist. But the origination will never come, because you'll never find the origination, because the original court hearing never existed, because there was never a layer of information and there's no record of it. But on your system, going the other way around, there is a record of it, because there is because you have got the facts, but then they grafted on different names and they morphed it and they changed it into something different, which is never original. So they created a fiction out of a fact. Whereas other way in a court system, they create a fact out of a fiction, because it didn't exist. The very first court hearing, everybody that says they've been invited into a court, they haven't. It's been created out of nothing, because the originating court case number does not exist. It will not have a case file unless you created it yourself. Everything else has been created out of thin air, and it's all a part of the illusion. And that's my witnessing what I've witnessed so far. And I've never come across one original one yet, unless somebody created it themselves. Anything that's been created against you has been created through falsehood.
Well, if you look on the New Zealand websites, New Zealand government websites, they deliberately create confusion by putting up false history on their New Zealand websites. And if you look on the New Zealand websites and you put the questions and you're seeking for the truth, it's they seem to be censored. Everything seems to be censored, that you cannot find the information that you put in the search engine. And when you put any information in the search engine, the websites seem to be controlled by the governments, probably by Reuters. Everything is censored, and that what they pop up is false information. And as for example, if you wanted to find out information of the true flag for the 20th of March 1834, you look it up. They will deliberately give you all these different versions of flags. They will never they will never show how they concluded that these certain flags were our flag. And they do this deliberately to confuse everybody. And this is why I had that issue with Kate Floss when she brought up our Confederation of Chiefs flag, and she said it was 5-pointed. And she claimed that the small St. George cross was fimbriated in white, and that's all falsehood. Now, that's why I produced straight from the source the sketch of James Busby, and this sketch does not show 5 points, and his sketch shows that the border in the canton is black, you know. But that sketch of James Busby, you can't find that on the internet. They've removed it all. They've removed the truth, and they're only putting up the falsehoods. And that's why so many people can't find the truth, is because it's been deliberately concealed.
Yeah, so to add to that, why is the Queen and the monarchs and the Governor General here wearing 8 points instead of 5 points?
Yes.
Why is that? You know why? It's the money.
Yeah.
It's the money star, not the 5 points. It's got no money.
Yeah.
Why would they put a 5-star up when it's got no equity in it? That's silly. That's silly, because it was never meant to be a 5-star in the first place of Admiralty, where they came from in the first place on the land. So they just did it to keep their story and narrative going, to make people believe that that's the right one. And even the Boer War was a 5-star. And they did that because Alfred got the story for that one. They weren't allowed to use an 8-point because it was a contract that's none of their business for the government to let anybody use. So there. And even the word Maori is nowhere in the history at 1840. They put it there. They wrote it up that way in New Zealand to fool everybody that Maori were there in 1840. Then they put a Moai down in Island Bay, Alao Bay in Wellington, just up from the Parliament, and said, oh, they look like Maori from the islands on the Moai, the Moai people, and claimed that as their title to the seabed at 2004 when they put it up. So there, that gives you some indication that Moai is real, because they made a replica and fooled everybody that they had a memorial to the seabed, foreshore and seabed, in 2004. That was Helen Clark, Prime Minister, that did that with the Bishop of Canterbury and the Samoa people. That's why they've got Samoa up with the Secretary General up in Britain, with them now on the news and on Facebook with the Samoans. So there's something going on there fishy. And with what what's her name? What's her name? I forget what's her name now. The Secretary General. I wrote to her and I never got an answer back from her. And even Patricia Scotland from in Britain, never got answers back from them, because they've been told probably don't answer. Yeah, so that's more or less wrapped up everything. Andy, so I can leave things to open up for people. We finish, Alfred? You want to say any more?
No, I'm all right, think.
Okay, we can see Tin Chan or Kate or somebody else might want to respond to anything we're saying.
Yeah. And
people who watch what we say, and we make sure we do things properly. So we're in to win a case, not to lose a case. Right. So we're planning together to have a successful case on Cook Street, to make an example out of the corporates, to getting away with it. They would get away with it. Even John Key, I'll put his name there as well, because he's getting away with it. He's not going to get away with it, because he sold our country out and try to make another flag for $13 million to go over the top of our flag and the Union Jack flag, as if flags don't matter. only his flag. You see, so they're skullduggery in the government. I'm calling them criminals, and use the motu proprio on anyone in there, the courts, the lawyers, the lot, and especially Cook Street, because there's a lot of fraud going on in there on that title, because they'll all do the same thing. They'll just follow each other and look after each other, corporate business. So every corporate title, every business in this country and their level will be investigated, every single one, because they've made healthy out of fraud titles, all fraud titles. That all the people who use the banks money, fraudulent money, and birth certificates, and all that, use that to make their wealth. They're going to have to pay the bill. They're going to have to pay back the people what's been taken from them. Everybody, anywhere in the world, yeah. We're going to make everything evened out, and this is what the WEF is saying. They're going to take all your titles off you anyway. They're going to take everybody's titles off them, even wealthy people. They're going to take everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what they aim to do.
Yeah.
No one will have title to land. They'll just go right over the top of the land and own the whole lot if we don't own it. People got to own what all these things here, all these instruments. They're given to everybody as a last resort to save their country and their generations getting killed off. And good luck to all those ones who haven't been jabbed, because I feel sorry for the ones that have been jabbed. It's almost impossible to undo.
But they chose to be jabbed.
Yeah, some didn't want to, but went for the hell of getting it for their job.
A lot of people were coerced. It wasn't just the fact that they wanted to do it; it was through monetary and through care and everything else. So it was disgusting. Kate Floss.
Yeah, well, they didn't have.
Kate Floss would like to join. Is that okay for Kate Floss to join?
If she doesn't talk about Queens,
No.
if she doesn't talk about Queens, because I know what she's going to talk about, and it would jeopardize what we're saying. The court hearing is finished anyway. I've closed the court hearing. This is discussions now, so it's open to the floor.
Okay, so the court session is closed.
The court is ended, and we're letting it open. When I let it open, the court is shut.
Yeah.
So now it's anybody to say anything, but I want her to talk if she wants to talk, because it just leaves everybody in this country that has a right to what I'm saying.
So we just make sure this doesn't get
it doesn't go into a slangy match.
It doesn't get copied into the court bench, and
I can stop the recording on what I will put up on the YouTube. It'll still be live on Facebook. Yeah. So I can end the recording there, so that it's not within the what's it there, and you can bring her on there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
In the court, because I don't want anything to jeopardize. Our court is an affidavit.
Yeah. She says I just have a question. So I mean I'll end this recording now then. So the time now is 46. So that will be 8:46 in New Zealand, and 9:46 in the UK, and it's the 14th of July. So I'll end this here and now then on the recording.
Yep.